we live in a society where it's the go-getter mentality. I gotta go get this, I gotta go get that. One of my cousins, he lent me a book called The Goal Giver. The main principle in that book is seeking the interests of others more abundantly than you seek out the interests of yourself. Because a lot of times the things that we want, surprisingly, somebody else has them. And then you serving them, you receive them. And then serving, you feel good in serving. And then you being blessed in return.
This verse that's found in Mark 12, verse 31, it says, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." That commandment right there, God commands us to love our neighbor as ourselves. And the way we know what love means is to have that personal relationship with God. Then when you have that for yourself, then you can love your neighbors as you love yourself. Don't be afraid of that wilderness. On the other side of that wilderness is a pasture land. That's what the people need. And that's what's on the other side of you having to face the things head on, your traumas, the things that you've experienced in life. Once they face that fear, there's so much freedom, bro. Comes after that. Don't be afraid of no one but God.
We have to discipline our thought life. Our thought life is basically like a wild garden. We have to prune it, we have to clip it. It could be compared to like a wild horse. You can run wild, guiding the horse to where it's gonna go. You gotta be guiding your thoughts with the word. Music is very powerful. Be careful what you allow into your ear gates.
If we're not careful, we can be letting in a lot of darkness in, and then we are mind blown. We are shocked by our lives are in shambles. Remember earlier when I said, how the law of love is one of the most, if not the top law that God puts above all of his other laws. And that's because that law itself is foundational to how all the other laws are followed, right? Because in Mark, was that Mark 12, I think? This verse that's found in Mark 12, verse 31, it says, and the second like it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And so that commandment right there, God commands us to love and to love our neighbor as ourselves, which means we first have to love. We first have to know what love means. And the way we know what love means is to have that personal relationship with God, because then we really get to experience that love for ourselves. Oh, God is love, right? Then when you have that for yourself, then you can love your neighbors as you love yourself. You can't love your neighbor in the pure way that we are called to love our neighbors if you don't even know how to love yourself, if you don't even have that relationship with God to know what love means, what love is. And so God knows what he's talking about when he's commanding you to love your neighbor. He's not saying skip the first step, which means have a relationship with me first, but he's saying have that. Once you have that, then you can love your neighbors as you love yourself, because God is within you. He shows you how to love. His spirit helps you, brings you to all things true, to all things truth. And so, yeah, bro.
And even with this verse too, right? With the knowledge of how, we're all one in the body of Christ. For this verse, I like to say, it says, and the second like it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I like to add, right? Because your neighbor is yourself. Right? Because the hand though is here, my foot is here, they're not separate. They're part of the same body. So though you sitting there and we look separated, we're part of the same body spiritually. You get what I'm saying? So as I do unto you, I'm doing unto me. So if I cheat you in any way, shape, or form, it's gonna come back to me like we was talking about. I'm gonna be cheating myself in some way, shape, or form. If I'm envious of you, that's gonna come back to bite me. Right? If I lie to you, somebody gonna come back and lie to me. But if I love you, that love gonna be returned back to me. If I'm peaceful to you, that peace gonna be returned back unto me. If I'm joyful to you, I'm gonna share in your joy.
Facts. That's dope, bro. That's dope. And yeah, bro, another verse too that's found in James 3, verse 16. It says, "For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there." Like, how do you understand that verse?
For where envy and self-seeking exists, confusion and every evil thing are there. I think this chapter talks about heavenly versus demonic wisdom. So, heavenly wisdom is the one that comes from God, and demonic wisdom is the wisdom that comes from man, from flesh. So when it says for where envy and self-seeking exist, I know that these things are characteristics that are of our flesh. You know, when we're envious, when we're self-seeking, only looking for things to benefit and please
Yeah.
us, it says confusion and every evil thing are there. So there's like a partnership.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? So if you see somebody being envious and self-seeking, what's gonna follow right below,
Right
right
after that,
behind it
yeah.
will be confusion
Confusion.
and every evil thing.
Right. Right. Right.
These two are tied
Right.
together.
That so if we have to break it down, the tree itself is a self-seeking tree, an envious tree, and that tree would bear what types of fruits?
Fruits of confusion and evil work.
Evil work. And there's no saying there's no limit to what amount of evil that could be done. It just says evil. So that's a whole umbrella, you feel me?
Every evil thing.
Yeah. So you can for sure expect someone who is walking around being envious and self-seeking, always just finding ways to satisfy themselves. You can be sure to know that that person is will and probably have only been bearing fruits of evil. Evilness. That person for sure will betray you. That person for sure will stab you behind the back. That person for sure will still. There's no limit to what evil that person will be able to do, because his works, what he do, how he carry himself, is that of a person who is envious, who is self-seeking, who is only looking out for himself. So yeah, I feel like that's dope, bro, because the Bible talks a lot about knowing people
By their
by their
fruits.
fruits.
So I think this is even like a call to self-examination.
Mm.
You know, are your motives self-seeking? Why are you really doing the things that you're
Talk
doing?
about it, bro.
Are you doing it just to really serve yourself?
Right.
You have hidden agendas behind the words that are leaving out of your
Mm.
lips, the works that you're performing. Self-examination. We have to always examine ourselves, whether we be in the faith. Self-reflection. That's why I like journaling.
Oh yeah,
I like
you into
journaling a lot.
journaling too?
Yeah, man, I love me some journaling,
Oh
man.
snap,
Help
yo,
me.
little bro, really doing it all. That's good, bro. That's good.
Yeah, journaling helps you to really self-reflect, you know, examine yourself. Because a lot of times we don't want to examine ourselves because we know what's waiting there for
Ooh.
us.
We're
But
too afraid to really discover, unpack the layers of.
that's where the work is at, you
Ooh-wee.
know, and facing yourself and letting God, you know, make you clean.
Yeah.
But if you never want to face that filth, you can't be clean.
Mm.
Listen, a farmer, right? If there's thorns in his farmland, he has to first acknowledge, hey, there's thorns here. Let me remove them
Right.
and plant other seeds in there.
Right.
So the first step has to be acknowledging, right, the filth that's there.
Yeah.
So then now God can clean it up. Now we have an awareness of that filth.
That's a fact, bro. That's good. That's good, man. Yeah, bro. I think, and you said it, bro. I don't think people are afraid to do the work. I think they're just afraid of what lies underneath that. They are afraid of what is going to be required of them to do the work. Some people are like, I don't got the time. I don't got the emotional capacity. Like I don't got it in me. They rather just keep life going the same way. Even though it's not bearing them good fruits, even though it's not allowing them to really receive all the things that they've been praying for. They rather stick in that because they
Hmm.
comfortable. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
familiar.
Very
It's
familiar,
familiar. We
bro.
rebuke familiarity all 2025.
You going
We getting uncomfortable. 2025, get uncomfortable.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
facts. Now you're gonna have to go through some wilderness for sure. Don't be afraid of that wilderness, because on the other side of that wilderness is a pasture land, bro. Like where there's a land flowing with
Flowing
honey. You feel me?
milk and honey,
You know what I'm saying? Where there's water that never runs dry.
rivers of living
Come
water.
on, bro. And
You
that's what the
dig?
people need, man. That's what's on the other side of you having to face the things head on, your traumas, the things that you've experienced in life, maybe even childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like the friend, that hard conversation that you have to have with that friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You don't know how much blessing that will bring you and your friend. You just have to have it. You know what I'm saying? So people are afraid, bro. People are living in fear, bro.
Mm.
not knowing when once they face that fear, there's so much freedom, bro, that comes after that. You know what I'm saying? Freedom. And that's what I really want for people in 2025, bro. To be free, to be free, to not be afraid anymore. Like, don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of the next man. Don't be afraid of no one but God, bro. Because God, what I love about the scripture, bro, I love, whoo, we could go deep into this, bro.
Man, let's go deep into
Nah,
it.
we're gonna be here for another 2 hours, bro. But man, let me not lose my train of thought. Um, the Bible talks about how man can kill, men can kill the flesh, right? Men can unalive you right now, gone. But God says, though man can unalive you, man can take your life. God is the only one who can take your life and take your spirit. He can kill not just the body, but he can kill the spirit. So if you put that into perspective for real, you should really be more afraid of God than man. Because God can take both your spirit and your flesh, right? Because then there's no life after death for you. That's it. But when we think of God having that ultimate power, bro, like that allows us for that at me, it gives me a sense of peace, a sense of calmness to submit to God and not be so fearful of man, bro, what man can do, what man can't do. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of people, bro, who unfortunately, bro, has been taken advantage of. And now, bro, like that intimidation kind of that cloud of intimidation kind of like flow over their minds day and night, bro. Like to where they don't have peace, bro. They're always intimidated by coworker, intimidated by maybe their own spouse, intimidated by their own friends, and so they're constantly walking in fear now because of that intimidation. Damn, what's gonna happen next? Always being anxious. God did not call us to have a spirit of anxiousness.
What spirit did he call us to?
Spirit of love, spirit of power, spirit of sound mind.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what I'm saying? So
I've been meditating on this Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. I was telling you about this
mhm.
morning, where it says, "Do not be afraid." I don't know the whole
Oh,
verse, but
find
I
it, bro.
know in
Find it.
essence it says, "Do not be afraid, do not be dismayed. The Lord is with you wherever you
Right.
go." And it's like the scriptures is things that we really have to internalize within ourselves. Just having that knowledge in your mind, meditating on that, chewing on that. Do not be afraid, for the Lord is with you wherever you go. That's an empowering thought.
Facts.
We have to have a discipline. I heard this from Pastor. It was a fire. It was a fire word he had, right? But it's basically we have to discipline our thought life. Our thought life is basically like a wild garden. We have to prune it. We have to clip it. Or it could be compared to like a wild horse. It can run
Mm,
wild if you're not at the reins,
untamed. Yeah.
right? You gotta be at the reins, guiding the horse to where it's gonna go. You gotta be guiding your thoughts with the word of God.
Yeah. That's good. That's good, bro.
Discipline thought life with the scriptures,
Yeah.
internalized in your heart, not what the world is telling you, not what a lot of the songs that we hear in certain media. Like the music is very powerful.
Mm,
Be careful what you allow into your ear
right.
gates.
Right.
Yeah, it's not only what we eating, is what we taking in visually, it's what we hearing in. Yeah,
Facts.
so
Facts. Facts. Yeah. Now I'm always talking to my friends about this access, right? The access you're giving to people, the people you're lending your ears to, all of that matters, bro, because what you're doing is allowing light to come into your body, into your soul. And God talks about that there's a light that you have. It's either a light that is dark or it's a light that is of Christ. It's illuminating, it's bright. And so we have to be careful because the more we allow the darker light to come in, by way of conversations, gossip, by way of watching pornography, by way of certain actions we indulge into, all of that, bro, is giving access into our soul. So if we're not careful, we can be letting in a lot of darkness in, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we are mind blown. We are shocked why our lives are in shambles, bro. Why we can't get it together. You know what I'm saying? It's because of the forces that we are like wrestling with, bro. It's not flesh and blood. You feel me? But it's of the spiritual realm for real. So yeah,
Access. I like that.
access, bro. Access. Yo, bro, there was a verse that you wanted to share with me, man. I think it's good to share it with the people.
Yeah, that Philippians chapter 2 verse 3 to
Right,
4.
right.
It reads, "Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself.
Mm,
Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of
of
others."
others.
And I love it too. I love this verse a lot because one of my cousins he lent me a book called The Go Giver. You know, because we live in a society where it's go getter mentality. I gotta go get this. I gotta go get that. But in that book, right, it's the principles are definitely scriptural. It talks about a go giver. You know, and the main principle in that book is given.
Mm,
You know, seeking the interest of others more abundantly than you seek out the interest of
right,
yourself.
right.
Because a lot of times the things that we want surprisingly somebody else has them, and then you serving them, you receive them, and in serving you feel good in serving, and you being blessed in
Yeah,
return.
it's a fact, bro. You know what that brings me to? There's another verse in the Bible that talks about how a man um walking up to a table, right? A feast that's going on, and that person that person goes and get the first chair that's at the head of the table, and
Yeah,
how God talks. Well, that's more of selfishness. I don't see how that's fun and gaining interest in others. But that's more so showing how to not be selfish, not to be trying to be the highest one in the room, so
word.
to speak. You feel me?
And I think in this verse too it says, "But in lowliness of mind."
Right.
So yeah, when you go into that establishment or wherever you're going, take the lowest seat. Right. In lowliness of mind, bro. Right. I'd be puffed up. Right. And then had a guy at the top seat, like say, "Nah, bro, you sitting too low. Come higher."
Right, right. Yeah, no, no. Just in that verse, it brings me back to another verse that I'm thinking about, and how God describes, right, this man who walks into this feast, the celebration, whatever's going on, and he gets the first chair, the chair that is at the head of the table,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And he talks about how not to be that man that walks and takes that chair, takes that seat. Because what if the person, the host, the host, the owner of the home comes in and tell you like, yo, no, that seat is not for you. That seat is actually for somebody else.
Mhm.
How embarrassing would that be? All right, but God actually tells us we should be like a man who is lowly in spirit, right? Humble, humility, having just not a contrite heart, right? You want to be able to find the lowest place to be at in a room, sit there, and let the host himself or the owner of the home see you and welcome you to the head seat of the table. Because then that right there shows how much God is showing favor towards you. He's able to elevate you. He's able to take you up. And so if you are not humble in a sense, God will humble you. But if you are already humble, God will elevate you and exalt you.
Right.
And so that is why we have to always be in that mindset of, okay, humility, 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 because God loves his people who have humility first, because he could work with that. You're not going to be puffed up. You're not going to be prideful. You're not going to think, you're deserving of everything that's happening. You get to see who's really in action here, who's really moving the pieces, and you're going to be thankful for that. You're going to thank God. And so, let me read that verse for y'all, though, just so y'all know for yourselves where that verse is at. It's found in Luke 14, verse 10. It says, "But when you are invited, go and sit in the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he may say to you, friend, move up higher. Then you will be honored in the presence of all who sit at the table with you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we gotta be always mindful of not trying to be the one in the room who's big and bad and who's doing, you know what I'm saying, all the talking. You know, we like to say work in the room, which is fine. You can always be the one working in the room. But don't be that guy that think you the smartest in the room. You know what I'm saying? You that guy. You so much that guy that no one else can approach you type of thing. Nah, relax, buddy. Relax. You know, like sit low, let the person in the room elevate you. And so I think that helps so much with life, bro, bro. Because can you really imagine that situation happen? You think you that guy and you sitting up at the table. Or
Yeah, humble real quick.
is there another example we could use? Maybe not a table.
After that.
Right, bro. Like, yeah, 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 I understand, man. But
I think an example was Christ and the Pharisees. The Pharisees, they're wearing all the nicest clothing. They're exalting themselves. And eventually they all got humbled.
yeah,
Christ came from above. He's above all. He came down below, made himself a servant, and he was humbled, and he was exalted once again
yeah,
to where he came from, in the heavenly place, in the heavenly thrones.
it's a fact. Yeah, so yeah, man, I feel like that's that's
And I could see that verse that you just read, that Luke 14:10, tying into, selflessness, because I think pride, moving in the spirit of pride and haughtiness when you're puffed up, you feel like you don't need to serve anything, you don't need to do anything for anyone. But it's more so from a sense of everybody just me,
right,
to prepare ourselves, see,
right,
but in that loneliness of mind, oh, well, that's my fellow man, it's my fellow blood, my fellow sister. We in this walk together. I can help them. I can aid them. Right. And we're equal. Unity and humility.
facts, facts, facts. Yeah, man. So with all that being said, bro, what are some practical things that you think you can do in your day-to-day life after this conversation that you can do to be more selfless?
Just giving out a compliment to somebody somebody that I see,
That's
a
good.
passerby.
That's good, bro.
Just giving a compliment, acknowledging them.
Wow.
You know, 'cause you don't know how much like a a hey or a smile can do for somebody's day. Like,
Right.
it's very powerful.
Right. Man, I could already think, and maybe even me, I might be guilty of this too, to where sometimes I put on the fit and I feel fly as hell. You feel me, man? I feel fly. And then I go out and about, and because I'm so much into my fit and how I look, I feel good, I look good, I kind of block out everyone else. I don't give myself the opportunity to see anyone else, right? Because I'm just so focused on how I'm looking, how I'm flowing, and how I'm moving, how confident I am, and things like that. You know, it blinds me to those who could be who could appear, very well put together. You know what I'm saying? And so I see what you're saying, bro, because that compliment now makes you have to put yourself to the side, you know, and instead, rather than looking for compliments, rather than you feeling like you that guy, you that girl, and you want people to compliment you, and or maybe you that person who's always getting compliments every day, and it's time to take a back seat a little bit, and then now seek others first to compliment. Because just as good as you feel when you receive compliments, you can make the next person feel just as good. So I love that, bro. That's good.
Life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Build people up. Listen. Hey, you look good today. You look amazing. Boom. You gotta serve your low to you.
Fast.
I like the confidence that you walk with, that you walk in.
There you go. There you go.
They gonna have that. They gonna have that demon all day long.
Yeah, bro, for real.
The same way you could tell somebody something negative, they'll be ruminating and punching on that all day long.
Yeah. Messed up their whole day.
Come on.
Yeah, bro. And so, man, that reached the end of our episode for today, man. this was a real good conversation. I think well needed. You know, I pray and hope that the people, you guys were listening to this, um, are very edified by it. You know, you guys are touched. You guys get a new perspective of what selflessness looks like and how to live that life for real. Because over, in the end, it's not about us. It's not about what we can do. It's not about our strength, you know, but it's about how we can use what we have to uplift others, you know, to pour into others, to serve others. Because if Christ himself came down on earth to serve, he served the people around him, he served his disciples, he even washed his disciples' feet. You know what I'm saying? He broke bread with his disciples. He made sure not to make himself bigger than everybody else. And so if Christ himself can do that, and we're not bigger than Christ, that shows that we can, at the very bare minimum, treat each other here on earth, you know, honor each other in that light, you know, like serving one another, you know. Because I really do believe that when we have that mindset, when we operate in that spirit, um, God is able to do so much more through us than a one man trying to, you know, than a one man army type of thing. You trying to do everything on your own, and you don't have time for nobody. You know, God is able to do great things, through unity, like you were saying. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today. Enjoyed the conversation me and my little bro he had. You know, I love this man right here, man. And yeah, I hope you guys seek ways that you can be a better friend, be a better brother, be a better sister, be a better father, be a better mother, be a better uncle, be a better aunt, be a better grandma, be a better grandpa, be a better whoever you are, you know, because we all are in this together and we all need each other. So it's been real. Until next episode. And as always, remember, fashion is what you wear, but faith is who you wear. Until next time, y'all. Peace.